Hello, friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. Today, I've got some more highly upvoted posts from Best of Redditor updates for you all. Like always, I'll be reading you the posts and giving you my opinions. And I'll also be working on building up my Minecraft world at the same time, so I hope you enjoy. Also, I'm currently only in Spotify's creator program, so watching on there would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for your support. Today's story comes from the Relationships subreddit. It was posted by shecrossedtheline on August 28th, 2014, and was titled, My 25 female mother made a rude comment about my significant other's 26 male deceased brother, and I don't know how to move forward. 6 years. Quick context. 2 years ago, my boyfriend's younger brother tragically died in a motor vehicle accident at the age of 11. It was a really tough time. My boyfriend still hasn't gotten over it completely. He was a very caring older brother, and I know that he loved that kid as much as he loved me. A lot. His younger brother was in the car with his mom when it happened, and she rarely enforced the adornment of seatbelts in the car. My boyfriend doesn't blame his mom for what happened, but I suspect that my mother does. My mother usually has her heart in the right place, but she has a really big mouth. She doesn't really like my boyfriend because she thinks he's not emotionally equipped to be a father, whatever that means, so she can be pretty rude to him. We've had discussions about how she treats him in the past, and I've made it very clear to her that I want to marry this guy, but she still hasn't changed. My boyfriend and I came to visit my parents for the week since my dad is turning 64. This morning, my mother and I got into an argument because she was still trying to baby me. She tried to correct my toothbrushing motions, even though I'm a fully fledged self-supporting adult. I guess she's bored or something. We all got into the car to go out for brunch when my mom told me my seatbelt was secured too loosely. My boyfriend smirked a little because he was there when I discussed babying with my mother, and she was not happy with his reaction. Whenever she feels belittled, she gets vicious, but she definitely went way too far this time. I don't remember what she said exactly, but it was something along the lines of, I care about the well-being of my children. Maybe if you or boyfriend's mother cared as much as I do, boyfriend's younger brother would still be here. Do you find negligence funny? The car went dead silent right after that. My dad noped the F out, and my boyfriend just sat there in shock. I was furious at my mom, but I didn't know what to do, so I coarsely told her to get out of the car and go back inside the house. She refused, unsurprisingly, so I took my boyfriend, who was silent the entire time, to our own car and drove him to a hotel. I promised him he didn't have to spend the rest of our trip at their house. He hasn't said much since the incident, but I can tell he's very upset with my mother. He has issues with opening up and sharing his grief, so I'm very worried that what my mother said re-triggered the depression he went through immediately following his younger brother's death. Any ideas regarding how I should handle this? I am unbelievably mad at my mother right now, but I don't even know what I can do about it. My dad is trying to stay uninvolved, which makes me mad at him too. My boyfriend has been watching soccer all day, and he doesn't want to talk about what my mom said, so I'm very concerned about him as well. Scaling Stories Corner. Nah, this is a situation where you have to decide and pick a side. Either you're picking your boyfriend and you're cutting off your mother, or you're picking your parents and breaking up with your boyfriend. Because there's literally no reality where your boyfriend should ever have to interact with in any capacity with someone as malicious as the mother was in this post. That was just like so crazy vicious of her. It doesn't even matter if she apologizes for saying that. That was just something that crossed the line and it can't ever be uncrossed. And what in the hell is the dad doing? Like, his wife literally said something like that and he's trying his best to stay uninvolved? What about saying like, yo, what the F did you just say? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? I can't imagine looking at my significant other the same if they said something along those lines. Like, I would just be so disgusted at their behavior. And it kind of makes me think that he low-key supports what the mother said because he's not saying anything about it. It's like more of like a, honey, you weren't supposed to say that out loud, like type of thing. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, first of all, you both need to go home. He doesn't just not need to spend the rest of your trip at their house. The trip is over, period. Your mother's action was so far below the belt, so vile and uncalled for, that even if she apologized straight away, your boyfriend would be well within his rights to never want to see her face again. Instead, she's convinced she's in the right here, and your father is enabling her. Let's face facts here. Your mother wants your boyfriend out of your life and will literally stop at nothing to hurt him. You have a clear choice here. Either you enable your mom because it's just the way she is and she won't change, so she knows she gets away with trampling all over your boyfriend, or you want to salvage your relationship with your boyfriend, in which case you need to send a very clear message that you're on his side. You cannot let this slide. If mom would not apologize in a million years, then that means the end of contact. Commenter 2 says, she doesn't really like my boyfriend because she thinks he's not emotionally equipped to be a father, whatever that means, so she can be pretty rude to him. He's not a father, so this is irrelevant. It's not his sole purpose in life to bear her grandchildren. She sounds like a total BTCH, and I wouldn't even spend time with her unless she sincerely apologized to your boyfriend and promised to never speak to him like that again. OP says she will never apologize, but I don't have a problem never talking to her again. OP adds an edit to her post. I spoke with my dad, and he agreed to pack up our stuff and bring it to our hotel. My significant other and I will be leaving tonight. I have not spoken with my mother since leaving, and I don't intend to. My significant other is still visibly upset, but I know he's happy that we're going home. Hopefully, I can figure out a way to make this up to him. She has been rude to him in the past, and I should have put my foot down well before this point. Update 6 days later. My mother is unbelievable. I'm not sure if she is a narcissist, but she is most definitely a BTCH. On Thursday, I called my father and asked him to bring us our stuff to our hotel so we could begin the 3-hour drive back home. When he arrived at our hotel, he apologized profusely to my boyfriend for what my mother said, and they both shook hands and agreed to move on. I think my dad sort of wanted us to stay, but I knew that any type of interaction with my father would involve my mother as well, and I am not going to let that happen for obvious reasons. I ended things on amicable terms with my father because I don't think it's fair to blame him for what my mother said. He is probably enabling her, but he promised me he would talk to her about taking steps toward fixing things. That being said, I'm pretty sure my mother won't change her mind anytime soon. I asked my father privately about my mother's reaction to everything, and he told me that she was very disappointed in me for making this trip about me and my relationship. Apparently, she does not want to speak to me until I apologize to her. Who says what she says and then demands an apology? I'm especially hurt about everything because she did all of this right after I finished expressing my excitement to her because I discovered something that led me to believe my boyfriend was planning on proposing to me soon. She knows that I love him more than anything else in the world, and she still paid no attention to his feelings, and my feelings by extension. She doesn't have to love him, but she should at least care about him merely because he's important to me. Is that too much to ask from my own mother? On the car ride home, I tried to cheer my boyfriend up by asking him about the soccer and tennis games he was watching because he likes it when I take an interest in his hobbies. Usually, he will happily explain everything to me, but this time, he barely said anything, so I decided to give him some space, and I ended up replying to a few comments on here and reading some articles about narcissism. When we got home, he seemed much more at peace with what happened, so I was hoping that we could just put my mother behind us and move past this. Yeah. My mother demanding an apology isn't the unbelievable part of last night. Our home phone had a voicemail from my boyfriend's dad asking us to call him. My mother actually called my boyfriend's parents to question their parenting directly. Oh my god. Who does that? This is far beyond what I thought my mother would ever be capable of. I'm so disgusted by all of this that I don't even want to know what my mother said to them specifically. My boyfriend's mom won't get on the phone with us, but his dad said that she's been sobbing non-stop. I feel sick to my stomach about everything, but I don't know what to do. My mom won't reply to my messages or my calls because she's still waiting for an apology, and my poor dad is caught in the middle of everything during his birthday weekend. My boyfriend, someone who's traditionally very agreeable and calm, is livid. He told me he wants her out of his life completely, and I agreed with him, but I'm not sure she'll let us just cut her out of our lives without trying to hurt us even more. His parents live on the other side of the country, so he feels completely helpless. It's like my mother erased all of our therapy sessions and counseling in one day just because she was unhappy with how my boyfriend reacted to her ridiculous behavior. Yesterday was pretty uneventful. My boyfriend and I just hung out for the majority of the day. Neither of our mothers has spoken to us. For the record, my mother did not raise me to be this way. I was very close to her when I was younger, and while we did drift a little bit after college, I still frequently confided in her. I always knew she had a big mouth, but her current actions are just hateful. She can't plead obliviousness. She is deliberately trying to hurt people I care about. I don't know what's happened to her, but that woman is not my mother, and I don't care if I ever speak to her again. Scaling Stories Corner. So I don't really want to say more about OP's mom because she's already a giant piece of crap, and we all know that. But I'm honestly so shocked at OP's dad. Like, not only did this guy not say anything to his wife after what she said to OP's boyfriend in the car, but he must know what his wife said to the boyfriend's parents. And yet, still, he's not saying a single thing to her. I take back what I said, that he was secretly supportive of his wife's thoughts, and that's why he didn't speak up against her. Because this guy's like not even a person. He's like so spineless for I don't know what. If I'm OP, I'm obviously cutting off my mother for being a narcissistic. I was about to swear there, but I'm trying my best to not swear. And so she's being like a narcissistic BTCH of a person. But I'm also cutting dad off too if he doesn't speak up and defend the boyfriend if I'm OP, because that is just simply not being on my side. And in this situation, I don't need or want people in my life who aren't on my side after the mother did what she did. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, I wouldn't talk to your mom ever again unless she comes on her knees, crawling to you, and apologizes. She's a terrible human being. OP says, I don't think apologies are enough at this point. Commenter 2 says, she's moved beyond toxic to psychologically dangerous. Your boyfriend's parents should consider either blocking her phone or changing their number. You and your boyfriend should do the same. She burned down your relationship and salted the earth, all to prove her insane point that she deserved an apology. You owe her nothing. All that's important here is your boyfriend's pain and the pain of his family. Cut her off and don't look back. If you think her behavior will stop here, imagine when you will have kids. What if she decides your parenting doesn't meet her standards? Who knows what she's capable of? She may be your mother, but that doesn't give her the right to destroy lives. Go no contact and stick to it. Reiterate your unwavering support to your boyfriend and his parents, and get some more counseling to help you achieve a no-mom future. Good luck. OP says, I doubt she will ever be allowed to interact with my future children in any meaningful way. OP says to another commenter, I think she might need emotional or mental help from a professional. If she puts in the time and the effort to prove that she's changed, I can accept her back into my life. Even if that does happen, I still won't let her interact with my future children or my boyfriend again. OP says to another commenter, I did not intend to speak with her again after the first incident. Contacting her again was a purely emotional response to her horrific actions with my boyfriend's mom. Our family is very large, and I'm afraid of the ramifications of a cease and desist/restraining order. Most of my other family members don't even know what's happened yet. I know I shouldn't care about her, but I still do, and I'm afraid that our family will completely isolate her once I tell them. Again, I know it's probably irrational to care about her feelings at this point, but I can't really help it. Second update, 2 days later. Sorry if this update is all over the place. I'm still trying to absorb everything that has happened. I hope that writing it all out will help. There are some aspects of the past couple of days that I don't want to write about, even anonymously, so please bear in mind that there will be some details missing. After I replied to a few comments on my last post, I read some articles about narcissism and enabling narcissism. It is impossible for me to maintain a healthy relationship with my father without a drastic change in his relationship with my mother. Hopefully, someone on here can empathize with the pain that causes me, knowing that you love someone so much, but forcing yourself to remove that person from your life because you fully comprehend that the contact between the two of you is inappropriate. I suspect some people will find fault with my decision to go no contact with my father, and I welcome your criticism. Just know that it was not a decision I made easily. I have always been daddy's little girl. When I was young, I used to fantasize that my father and my Prince Charming would become best friends. Knowing that it's very likely that my father will not be walking me down the aisle cuts my heart like a knife. I called him up to talk to him about my decision on Saturday while my boyfriend was privately Skyping with his parents. He told me he was happy to hear from me, and he explained that my mother was going through our family photos to throw away pictures of me. He saved all of the pictures, but he did not stop her from throwing them out in the first place. I asked him if he repeated anything from our last phone call to my mother. He did. I asked him if he could promise me that would stop. He could not. I started sobbing, and I told him that I could not keep him in my life while he was still enabling my mother's behavior. He joined me in crying and repeatedly begged me to make up with my mom. I explained to him very clearly why that would not happen under the current circumstances, and we both sat silently on the phone for what felt like an hour. He broke the silence by telling me that he was proud of me and that he loved me more than anything in the world. Apparently not more than his wife. That only made me cry more. I guess my boyfriend heard me sobbing because he walked into the room, hugged me, and asked me who I was on the phone with. Eventually, he asked to speak with my father, and after their conversation, my boyfriend asked me if I sincerely believed that I had to cut my father out of my life. I explained to him that we would never be able to move past this while I was still in contact with someone who allowed my mother to continue her hateful actions. My boyfriend accepted my response and reminded me that it was my decision to make, and he did not want me to feel like he was pressuring me to sever or maintain my relationship with my father. I called my dad 3 to 4 times a week, so he knows how close I was with him and how much love we have for each other. He knows this wasn't an easy decision for me to make. I finished the call with my dad by telling him that he needed to get my mother help, and he needed to put his foot down to let her know that her current actions are not okay. He understood, and he promised me that he would do whatever it takes to get me back into his life, including a divorce if my mother continues her refusal to work on herself. But right now, he wants to keep on pushing to get my mother help because he loves her. I admire and respect my father a lot, even if I don't fully admire and respect the things he's done this past week. Despite everything my mother has done to me, my boyfriend's family, and even him, he is still loyal to her. Enabling her certainly isn't something he should be proud of, but I admire his devotion to his wife. A lot of people tell me that I'm fiercely loyal to my loved ones, and I'm very proud that I learned that from him. I hope he keeps his promise and finds his way back into my life, but I know I should not count on it. After my phone call, my boyfriend and I had a serious discussion about everything that's happened. I don't know how, especially after he embraced me half an hour earlier while I was crying, but I convinced myself that he was going to leave me. I had to work so hard to hold back tears as he spoke because I thought I knew that this would be our last conversation as a couple. I'm well aware of the fact that I am the sole reason he has to deal with all of this, and to be frank, I feel responsible. If I wasn't in his life, his family would not have to go through this awful experience. But instead of breaking up with me, he asked me to tell him how I was feeling about everything and how I needed him to support me. I told my beautiful boyfriend everything. I asked him the same question, and he told me everything. He also suggested that I begin meeting regularly with his therapist, at least for now, and I accepted wholeheartedly. The only positive aspect of pain is having your best friend support you through it. After our talk, he wanted to think about everything in quiet, but he asked me to sit with him. We sat together and said nothing for hours. He didn't want to cuddle, and he didn't even look at me for the majority of the silence. He just asked me to be with him. I tried to think about this entire situation some more, but instead, I just thought about how much love I have for my boyfriend. Eventually, he began to talk about his brother. We shared familiar stories with each other and cherished them as if they were new. We both celebrated his brother's beautiful life together, but it wasn't sad or depressing. It was very pleasant. I was troubled when he started talking about things he could have done differently. Obviously, I immediately explained that nothing about the loss was his fault, but I'm not sure he believes that the awful things my mother said are untrue. It's bothering me a lot, and I have already told his therapist about this. His therapist offered some responses I can use if my boyfriend brings up this awful thought again, but I'm curious about how Reddit thinks I should reply. Maybe I've done some things wrong as a girlfriend. Please point them out. But I am doing my best to be the woman he deserves. Thanks to the suggestions of Reddit, I offered to Skype with my boyfriend's parents to express my grief and offer my support to them. It went very well. His parents were lovely, as always, and it pains me to know that these innocent, kind people have to experience this much heartbreak in their lifetimes. I explained to them how much my heart aches for them and how I have cut contact with my parents completely. They told me that they loved me very much and they would lend an ear if I ever needed guidance. Who would want to hurt people like that? It's not fair that these beautiful people have to suffer through this. I would not wish this pain on the most definitively evil people in the world. I wrote my mother a very long email explaining why I would no longer be speaking to her or my father. I detailed how her actions hurt me and people that I loved. I explained how betrayed I felt. I told her that she was not acting like the mother who raised me to live virtuously. I asked her to get help. I told her that if she didn't want to do it for me or herself, she needed to do it for my father. Even a person who has acted as selfishly as she has to feel an emotional obligation to please the one person standing by her, right? I admitted to her that I still loved her and my father. I admitted that I would love them unconditionally, and there's nothing I can do to change that. But I also explained that I could not sit by and watch my mother destroy herself like this, and I could not idly watch her hurt the other people I love unconditionally. Perhaps that gave her ammo. Looking back, I feel like my profession of love to her was unnecessary, but I don't regret telling her that. It's the truth. She replied almost immediately, and I could not stop myself from reading her reply, mostly because she had replied at all, despite me not apologizing for anything in the email. I was foolishly hopeful that she finally understood everything. Instead, she tells me she is disgusted that I'm entertaining my father's notion to get her evaluated mentally and medically. She says that we're the ones who need the evaluations. She writes that I am a fool for abandoning my family for a man I met at a bar. She finishes by telling me that I am not the daughter she raised, and she will never be able to forgive me for making my father cry because I selfishly want to spend more time with my boyfriend. I cried after I read her letter, not because her words hurt me, but because it's painfully clear that there is something wrong with her, but she's too hurt, scared, or hateful to let us help her. I'm grieving the loss of my mother because I'm afraid I will never see her again. Things are bad now, but I'm very optimistic about my future. I know that any of my boyfriend's possible plans to propose are delayed at best, but I don't think my mother has succeeded in destroying our future family. Thank you so much for all of your support. I do not think I will update again, and if I do, it won't be for a while, but I will try to reply to as many comments as possible. The overwhelming love and support I've discovered in this community delighted me, and I'm grateful for all of the advice and kind thoughts you have shared with me. To all of the parents who shared their stories about the loss of their children with me, my heart aches for you. You're wonderful people for using your stories to help others. I wish I could hug you. I'm sorry this was so long. Writing some of this out has been therapeutic for me, and hopefully I haven't upset too many people with this. I was distressed to read that my post brought up painful memories for members of this community. You have no idea how much my heart aches for you. Scaling Stories Corner. Dude, no, the dad in this post just really upsets me. I don't know how you could love your wife to that extent to not be able to put your foot down and say something when your own child is hurt to this extent. His wife's actions were so atrocious, so vile, so malicious, so disgusting, and he's just a complete doormat. I don't understand. How is it possible to see your wife act like this and just not be like, yo, what you said to our daughter's boyfriend, that's not okay. What you said to his parents, that's not okay. What you said to our daughter, that's not okay. Is it really called love if you're not able to talk to your significant other when something they do is wrong or something you perceive as wrong? You claim to love your daughter so much, so much more than anything else in the world. But yet when the wife is throwing pictures of that very daughter in the trash, you just let it happen? I'm wondering if the wife kicked a puppy on the street because it was supposedly in her way, would he also be silent? I actually think that he would literally let her do that and not call her out for it. I'm mostly just shocked that at the start of the update, even after everything she did, this guy was still repeatedly begging OP to try and make up with her mother. That is just sad. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, "Your mother's response is classic narcissist behavior. Forget about her getting treatment. Narcissists are notoriously difficult to treat because they absolutely refuse to believe there is anything wrong with them. They just make everyone around them miserable and are happy to do so. They will be completely self-righteous about it, just like your mother is now. In her mind, she actually believes these things she's saying, and there's no use trying to convince her otherwise. I hope you and your father can have a relationship one day, but you are doing the right thing to cut contact for now. If you want to send him one last message to encourage him to get individual treatment for himself, that would be a good thing. People who marry narcissists are usually deeply codependent. Your dad fits the bill. He's a sweetheart, but he's deeply messed up. It's all wrapped up in notions of family loyalty and keeping vows, but deep down, he's just pathologically scared to leave. He is beginning to question whether staying with her is worth it if it comes at the price of losing you. But your continuing any kind of contact will enable him to hold out hope that he can just try to keep walking the tightrope between the two of you. And he will push and push you for reconciliation because that is what allows him to have you in his life without doing the hard thing of leaving your mother. If he does end up leaving her, it will be a big deal. So perhaps, at that time, you can resume your relationship with him and support his decision. But for now, any hope you give him of a relationship without him divorcing your mother is just going to undermine any progress he might make toward doing so. Commenter 2 says, first off, lots of hugs from me and r/raised by narcissists when you're ready. I can just imagine how hard it is to cut a sane parent out. Thankfully, I don't have a sane parent, so it was so much easier. But still, I miss talking to my mom. She oscillated between normal and vicious, so I get it. Once I cut my parents out, my husband noted how much less stressed I was. I never noticed how much they affected me. There will be a lot of people who don't understand why you had to go no contact. Don't let them get in your head and second guess what you did. They are people who are themselves enablers or who didn't grow up like we did with parents like that. They cannot comprehend what we went through. Your boyfriend and his family sound like angels. Do not engage your mother anymore. Ignore her emails, calls, texts, Skypes, and never again send her a long email. I've written several and decided it just wasn't worth it to send. I hope you find the peace I found going no contact. Lots of love and hugs from me, smiley face. Also, your empathy, compassion, and willingness to make hard decisions say to me you are the girlfriend your boyfriend deserves. OP says, thank you and everyone else for the internet hugs. We've blocked my mother on everything. My boyfriend couldn't block a number on a landline, so we're in the process of changing his parents' home phone number. Okay, friends, so that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.